Welcome to the Positively You podcast. I'm your host, Jessie Larson, and I'm passionate about helping you shift the way you think so you can create a life you're absolutely obsessed with. Each week, I'll be bringing you a guest or a thought that's going to help you feel more optimistic and equipped to take real action. Get ready to push past limiting beliefs, ditch that negativity, and start showing up as the best and most positive version of you. Girl, let's do this. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Positively You podcast. Today we have a repeat guest on, Kelli France, and I'm so excited. The reason we have you back because you are now officially an author. Can you believe
I'm an author.
You're an author. And I love having authors on this show for so many reasons, not the least of being, Kelli, writing a book is a feat.
It really is.
Right? And
Yeah.
Kelli did it in 100 days, which is what we're going to talk about and what the whole premise of her book and this whole entire episode is going to be. Okay, so Kelli, before I get way too ahead of myself because I'm so excited for this interview, how about I let you introduce yourself and a little bit about who you are?
Okay, yeah, I am Kelli France. I am a confidence coach. I empower women to get out of their own way and go after their goals. And I'm an author now, which is so exciting to say, of my new book, One Goal for 100 Days, which is all about getting out of your own way and going for your goals and doing it in 100 days. And thousands of women have done it. And I'm the host of the Finally Fearless podcast, which is all about overcoming your fears and becoming more confident. And on top of all that, I am a mama of 4 hilarious kids whose personalities are like salsa. I've got hot, medium, mild, and pico. And I'm married and live near San Diego. So we eat lots of tacos and we go boogie boarding a lot.
Yes, I love it. I love the Mexican pull in with the salsa and all of that.
Yes.
Oh, so funny. And Kelli, you're just doing it all. And really, confidence is what you exude. And I come to, you or your page or your podcast for all those things confident. So you're doing it for sure. And I love so much that this book is a testament to not only the women who have done your challenges forever, because you started these one goal for 100-day challenges and then now it's morphed into a book. So you've got the proof of concept, you've got the women, but then you literally did the whole book in 100 days too. So did you set out to have that be the plan? Was it like, okay, this is the only way I'm going to get this book done, is doing it in 100 days?
It was, because I knew this worked. I've done it before in the past. I mean, I've done several rounds of this challenge on social media and with, my community. And so I knew it worked. And I was like, I should just do this with my book. It's powerful. It gives me a deadline to just get it done instead of dragging it out for a year or 2,
Right. Because how long, let's be honest, how long did you have this idea on your heart and on your mind to write a book?
For years. Right? I was like, for sure, I'm going to write a book. And I don't even know how long. I mean, 10, 20 years. But yeah, I actually did it because of what I teach about in the One Goal for 100 Days book.
I love that so much because we have these goals or we have these thoughts so often. We're like, oh, one day.
Yeah.
We keep pushing it off. We keep having all these things get in our way. But if you break it down, I preach this all the time. And so I'm so excited about what you've done here is by breaking it down into something incredibly small and probably a lot of people would say stupidly small, right? Where it doesn't even be how is that even going to make a difference?
Yeah.
But it does. And you have a book now.
It does. And it's just instead of saying one day, it's how about in 100 days? After 100 days, I'll be done with my goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love it so much.
There's an end. There's a deadline, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and you break it down too. It's so simple. I'm so curious. I want to jump in and ask you about some of your past challenges that you've done and what some of those goals were, because I'm willing to bet not everyone in your challenges are writing books, or have these these big goals like this. Um, what are some of the, if you want to share some of the other goals that have been done before in your challenges?
Yeah, it's been fascinating to see the variety of goals that the women in my community have done. Anywhere from, walking a mile a day or drinking more water or doing family history or um, doing writing, journaling every day, learning a new language with the Duolingo app, just like a good variety of goals, going after their, marketing for 100 days, doing a social media post for 100 days. There's just such a variety that these women have done. So it can be anything that you want.
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me of, I think it was probably 5-ish years ago where I started a similar thing.
Mhm.
My goal was I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to make my bed every day. And I was like, this is going to change my life, right? Set out.
Yeah.
No, but it really has. And I think now I'm on day, like, I don't know, 18,000 or something of making
Wow.
my bed. I don't know what the
That's
math is.
incredible.
But it did. It started out with just something similar like that, like 100 days or 3 months, or I don't remember what the initial small thing was, but I was like, that's just my one thing I have to accomplish every day. And it was
Yeah.
so simple, so small, something I could accomplish, right? I could do that every single day. Nothing's really gonna stand in my way. And there were
Yeah.
definitely days where it was 7 o'clock at night and I was like, oh crap, I didn't make my bed yet. And I ran in and made it really quick
Yeah.
before I climbed back in it. But it's something now that I feel incredibly accomplished about. It's become like
Yeah.
a part of my personality. I can't not do it.
Hmm.
And it started with just a simple thing. And I think we discount the simplicity sometimes.
So true. So true. I love that you did that and that you're still doing that.
Hmm.
And it really truly gives you a sense of accomplishment. And I have to say, we actually had a 13-year-old boy do that challenge. He did the
Oh, I
make your
love
bed
it.
every day for 100 days. His mom was doing the challenge, so he decided to do it too. That's the great thing. Like you can do this with your family, you can do this with your friends, and your kids. So he did this and did it for the 100 days. I mean, that's just such a confidence boost for yourself and your kids to feel like I can show up for myself, I can accomplish something, even if it's simple, but that consistency of showing up for yourself and keeping promises to yourself is so powerful. And it's such a confidence boost.
Absolutely. This is where I think the conversation gets really interesting, is linking this goal and how you've broken it down to what you teach is
Yeah.
confidence.
Yeah.
And because so many times, especially, we're heading into the beginning of the year, people are setting their New Year's resolutions and their goals for the year and their one word for the year. And come March, we usually never hear about them again. And then at the end of the year, we recap and we kind of feel guilty and start, feeling bad about what we did or did not accomplish. And that's why I really like this practice that you've figured out, because it helps combat that a little bit, where you don't
Mhm.
have the end of the year like, oh man, remember when I had that goal?
Yeah.
This keeps you accountable for 100 days and your confidence skyrockets, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, it's funny that you mentioned that because at the end of the year last year in 2022, actually, no, it was the beginning of this year, 2023, like January of 2023, as I was like reflecting on my past year and like what I had accomplished, I was actually pretty ticked off at myself. And it was because I told myself in 2022 I was going to write a book. And like
Mm,
that was my year. I think we all do that, right? Where we're like, it's my year, right?
yep.
But
Yep.
I was just really disappointed in myself because I didn't make it happen. I don't even know if I tried to make it happen, let's be honest.
Right.
But and frankly, it's overwhelming to write a book, right? And I think a lot of our resolutions are overwhelming. I think that's why so many of us don't achieve them. There's a statistic that says 93% of people don't achieve their New Year's resolutions. And I think honestly, it is because we overwhelm ourselves.
Absolutely.
And and so that was me literally at the beginning of this year. And I was like, we're not doing this again. I don't want to feel that way. Right. Like
Hmm.
I want to feel empowered. I want to feel confident and I want to feel accomplished. And that's what happens when you do this one goal for 100 days is you're like, okay, I can do this. But it's like small wins, right? That add up.
Hmm.
Like with you, 18,000 days later.
Exactly, exactly. I love that so much. And wow, what a not that we always want to like get down on ourselves and things, but what a powerful motivator to be like, okay, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling bad about myself. I'm feeling unaccomplished. And you said what you wanted to feel. I want to feel empowered. I want to
Yeah.
feel like I can do this. And I think cluing into those feelings too about the goal is really important because it's not always about the goal. It's about how we feel when we hit that goal. And what's
Yes.
cool with the 100 days is that you can actually feel that way on day one and on day two and on day
Yeah.
47, right? Because Kelly, every time you sat down and wrote and you got done that day and you closed your laptop, did you feel empowered? Did you
Yeah.
feel accomplished that day,
Totally.
right? So, like, you get the result during the process, which how cool is that?
Yes, that's such a good point. That's been something that's helped me throughout my whole life is just focusing more on the action and not the result. And I think that's one of the reasons that I've gone from food stamps to seven figures is, focusing on just showing up for myself daily, those small wins, right? Not the end result. I think that's how people get discouraged is they're not seeing the end result. And let me tell you, you're going to get discouraged. Like
Yeah.
it's a guarantee. There were days when I was writing this book where I was like, I am losing my mind. Like, I want to punch someone right now. Like, things just weren't working out, or like, there were just lots of little road bumps, and that's what's going to happen for sure, guaranteed. So just plan on it.
Yep.
And just realize it's part of the process, and just realize, like, all right, we're just gonna keep going. That's what I had to keep coach myself on was like, I'm just gonna keep going. And know that like you're going to start it's going to start to accumulate. You're going to start getting momentum. You're going to start to see like bigger results as you continue on, depending on your goal. Um, but I definitely had to like do some self-coaching. And that's what I love about this book is it's a motivational journal. So there are like essays and then there's like daily prompts to kind of help you stay motivated in this 100-day process because it's a journey. There's going to be lots of ups and downs, right? And you need that extra like hype girl. I'm your hype girl that's kind of helping you out during this journey.
Yeah, which I love. I love that it's not just a book that I can read and then be like, oh, I feel good. Now put that on the shelf and never come back to it again. That
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
is like it's interactive and it walks you through. Um, One thing that I know is in your book and that I love so much about this goal setting process that you do is what you call an orientation week. And
Hmm.
you're like the only person that I've ever heard of talk about this with a goal. What is an orientation week?
Okay. So I kind of talked about this. So it actually, I was interviewing Greg McEwen.
Okay.
He's the author of Essentialism. I was interviewing him on my podcast. So your listeners will have to go listen to it. And we actually like kind of came up with this as we were talking on my
Oh, I love
podcast.
it.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like he was talking about orientation week. I think one of his daughters was going to college and I don't even remember. It was a couple years ago, but we sort of came up with this concept together of how every goal should have an orientation week. And that has been so helpful because really when you commit to doing a goal for 100 days, like that's a commitment, right?
Hmm.
And it's easy to have this idealistic view of like, yes, I'm going to do this. In fact, I'll give you an example. My daughter and I, when we were having like a big birthday coming up, she was turning 18, I was turning 40, and we were like, okay, let's celebrate by doing the San Diego half marathon. I mean, and we both had run cross country in high school, but we were not like the fastest runners, let's be honest. And it's not something we're like super passionate about, but we were like, that would be cool. Right.
Yeah.
So we committed to it and then we started running that first week. And then we like looked into the apps that tell you how much you need to run to prep for a half marathon. And as we start training, we were like, hold up, this is like way too much of a time commitment. Like,
Yeah.
I don't mind running for 30 minutes, but an hour or 2 hours, no, thank you. Like, I'm a busy mom. I don't want to commit that much time to this goal. And so we both were like, yeah, no, we're done.
Mm.
And we ended up going to New York City for our birthday and doing something totally different, which was actually more magical. But that was kind of an example of how we had an orientation week where we're like, hey, let's try it. Let's put this into play. And it was like, just kidding. Let's pick a different goal.
Yeah. I love that because it gives you time. Because sometimes, yeah, you don't know, right? You
Yeah.
have an idea of something that you're like, oh yeah, like this. And maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you're being influenced by a goal that someone else is doing,
Yeah.
or just like something that seems super magical, but it's really not the thing that's gonna light you up. And so I love
Yeah.
that rather than being like, well, I committed to this, I'm gonna grind through it and it's not gonna add anything to my life. In fact, it's probably gonna add more frustration and
Yes.
just take away a lot. So I love that it's not that you've given yourself an out, but it's that you've given yourself kind of that time to figure out like where that goal feels really aligned with you, like if it's actually the right thing, if
Yes.
it's checking off the feeling that you're going for. I love this idea so much because it just really helps you solidify like the why and the reason almost behind your goal.
Yeah. Yeah. And you really have to align it with your core values,
Yeah.
and it has to be something that you feel strongly about. Because some things are glamorous to be like, I want to write a book. But if that hasn't been something you've been dreaming about for years, you might not show up for yourself. And then you
Hmm.
feel bad, right? Then the shame cycle starts. And that's what I'm trying to help women avoid is like, let's not make this turn into, you know, I'm a bad person because I didn't show up for myself. Um, that's why it's so important to have this orientation week because it's like, let's test this out. Let's get curious and see if this is a good fit. And sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is, but you have to make adjustments too. So maybe your first week, you're like, ooh, I need to cut this down a little. Like instead of saying I'm going to walk for an hour a day, maybe it's 10 minutes a day because you want it to be a bite-sized goal that is almost ridiculously small.
Yeah.
So that there's going to be hard days. There's going to be crazy nonstop days where you're like, I can show up for myself for a minute. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Or a minute or 5 minutes, but a half an hour is like, it's not happening. And so you want to set yourself up for success.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's probably the key, especially if your goal is like as a confidence booster, is to make that goal literally, like you said, ridiculously small.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to say one nice thing about myself today for 100 days, and that's like it. Or I remember I had a friend a couple of years ago, her goal was to brush her teeth in the morning because as a mom, I'm sure someone can relate to this. Like we know we brush our teeth in the morning and the nighttime, but when you get up and you get going, you've got those toddlers, you got those kids, and all of a sudden you're like, it's 2 o'clock and I haven't brushed my teeth yet.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so her goal was literally, I'm going to brush my teeth in the morning. And I was like, that's a hilarious goal. And then later throughout the
Right.
year, like she actually did accomplish it. She did it for a whole year. She's like, no, I brush my teeth every morning, like
Yeah.
first thing. And
Right.
she and everyone laughed and thought that that was like the dumbest goal. But by the end of the year, she felt really good about herself because she accomplished that goal.
Yeah.
And so it is like no goal is too small or too silly
No.
or too whatever, because the result that you're getting is that confidence boost, which is amazing.
Yeah. And you know what? Those kind of goals have a ripple effect. It's like, let's say,
Absolutely.
like with your goal of making your bed, you make your bed. It's kind of like you give a mouse a cookie. This
Hmm.
book, that book that it's like, but it's like the like positive ripple effect version where it's like you give a mom a toothbrush, and she she brushes her teeth and then like, oh, she's like, what else can I do? Or
Oh,
like, oh,
absolutely.
now I'm gonna curl my hair and that's gonna make me feel more confident. And then it's like, well, gosh, I'm so on top of it this morning. Now I'm going to make my bed. Now I'm going to go get groceries, whatever it is. They tend to have a ripple effect. And that's why these small goals can be really powerful and really confidence boosting.
Absolutely. I love it so much. Okay, so is there anything in your book, any other like little like tidbits you want to throw at us before we all rush out and go get them and decide on what our one goal for the next 100 days is? Is there
Yes.
any other like magic that you want to share with us?
Well, I do want to share the statistic
Okay.
because it's mind blowing. And that is that, okay, so researchers did a study with Harvard MBA students, and they studied them over the span of 10 years. And at the beginning of the study, they asked them, you know, what their goals were, or to, if they had any goals. And then at the end of the 10 years, 84, or no, wait, sorry. At the beginning, 84% of them said they had no goals. 13% of them had goals in mind, and 3% of them had written goals with a clear plan. Now, keep in mind, these are Harvard MBA students. These are like
Right.
the cream of the crop, right? Um, but only 3% of them had actually written down their goals with a clear plan. At the end of the 10 years, the 3% who had written their goals with a clear plan were making 10 times the amount that the other 97% were making combined.
That's
Combined. Okay.
incredible.
I'm sorry, but who doesn't want to make 10 times more? You know,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to 10x their goals? And so that is just like, it's so powerful. It's so important to actually like write down your goals. And that's what this book is all about. It's all about action. And that's what I'm all about. Like
Hmm.
less talking, more doing. You know what I mean? And so that's what this book was set up for, with the journal prompts and the like motivational boosts.
Absolutely. I love it. And it's just such a testament because it's watching you, launch your podcast and have your book club and have this goal in mind. See exactly, like you're just such a perfect case study for it because
Yeah.
you had this goal. I want to write a book. I want to write a book. I mean, I've been listening to you talk about this for years that you want to write a
Yeah.
book. And to
Hmm.
get to that, that disappointment phase that we can all relate to so much, and then to come up with the plan, to show up for 100 days, to have that work, to have your book out into the world. It's just such an amazing like proof of concept. And I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. And I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
for the ripple effect that you're talking about that this is going to have not only in your life, but in the life of everyone else and in the little goals that they make and the ripples that is going to go out from there.
Yeah.
Um, it's
It
about
truly
taking
is a
action.
movement.
Yeah, yeah, it's a movement. It's just taking that action. And so, whatever your small thing is, I'm excited to see you guys go forth and make your small goal. If it's writing a book, if it's making your bed, if it's going outside for 10 minutes a day, whatever it is, just take that action. And wow, the ripple effects going out, and we'll change the world. We'll change the world one day at a time, one goal at a time.
That's right.
All right, Kel, where can we find your book if we want to go rush to get to that? And where can we find all of the other goodness to get us feeling more confident?
So you can get one goal for 100 days on Amazon, or you can go to kellifrance.com/book and get some of my free bonus gifts with purchase. And you can also follow me at Kelli France on Instagram. Instagram is my jam. I respond to all my DMs, and listen to my podcast, Finally Fearless.
Awesome. And I've made it super easy for everybody. If you're listening to the podcast right now, just scroll down. All the links are right there. You can click and find Kelli. And I just want to say thank you so much for being on. Thank you so much for
you,
being
Jessie.
fearless and for going for your goals. And can't wait to see what else you do, Kelli.
Bye.
Thank you for hanging out with me again today. I'm so glad you pressed play. If you want to take a quick second to share this episode with someone you think would love it too, that would be amazing. If you're loving the show, make sure you go and leave a review on iTunes. Reviews are like magic for podcasts, and your review will help get this show into the ears of more amazing women just like you. And come find me over on Instagram. I'm there at positively.jessie, and I cannot wait to hang out with you some more. So until next time, have an amazing week.